Thank you for joining us. Over the past few videos, I share with you very briefly how our desires get in the way of our devotion to God. And Jesus set a very high standard when he said that if we are angry at a brother, it's as if we committed murder. If we lust after someone, we have committed adultery in our heart. How then can anyone serve God? Over 30 years ago, even before I began serving as a pastor in a church, I noticed my hypocritical attitude. As the weekend approached, I would be extra cautious in resisting temptations. I was doing my best to avoid sin so that God had no reason not to bless my weekend ministries. But came Sunday evening, I would reward myself with indulgence in sinful behaviors. Then as the weekend approached, I asked for forgiveness, and the cycle began again. I heard this story many years ago. After a worship service, a pastor was talking to the church members. A woman came up to him and said, "Dr. White, you're such a godly man. I just adore you so much." To that he replied, "Ma'am, if you can see my heart, you spit in my face." Wow, ain't that the gospel truth? In the presence of the Holy God, we would respond like the prophet Isaiah, "Woe am I," except we don't experience the purifying heat of the divine kiss upon our lips. So again, how can God possibly use sinful people like us? On one extreme, there are people who concluded that God cannot possibly use sinful people. On the other end, we have people who acted like the donkey on which Jesus rode into Jerusalem, thinking that everybody was cheering for it. Where do you stand on this continuum? But that's just it. God didn't purify us first, then he begins to use us, though that would make perfect sense. I believe Dr. White hit the nail on his head, the fact that God uses broken instruments like us so that we would give all the glory to him because we know exactly who we are, leaving no room for self-pride at all. That is such a genius balance that God has given us. We straddle the fine line between God's sovereign grace and our brokenness. Please, I'm not saying go indulge in your sinful desires and God will overlook everything. No, no, no. But quite the opposite. Our sins constantly staring us in our faces serve to humble us. It gives me a new understanding to these words of Paul, "But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us." Up until 4 months ago, I never imagined doing videos like this. Who in their right mind would want to listen to me? I don't even like the sound of my own voice. I confess that I am as much an egomaniac as the next, but I would never be so bold as to post talks of myself. But if, and that's a big if God decides to use me this way, may he alone be glorified, because the truth is, friends, co-laborers in God's kingdom, if you can see my heart, you will spit in my face. And that's the gospel truth.